All right, this will be the Conclave of the Chosen raid boss breakdown number 5, and
then they get the bonus damage from
let's see.
Tailored.
All right, I gotta read their lore piece. Yeah, we start this out with it.
Yeah. You do your thing.
Hell yeah. So, deep within Dazar'alor lies a chamber built to honor 6 of the Zandalari's greatest Loa, guarded by its most devout followers. Trespassers who dare enter the sacred hall are soon met with primal fury like none they have ever seen.
Oh, shit.
So, a pair of aspects join the fight at the start of the encounter, while the others observe. Each time an aspect is defeated, any other active aspects heal to full and receive a stack of Loa's Wrath. Afterwards, a new aspect joins the fight. Throughout the encounter, the Loa appear to unleash their wrath, with an additional Loa being added to the rotation. When a new aspect enters the fray, the encounter ends when all the Loa aspects are defeated. And
this fight looks fun as hell.
It looks very. I got very vibes from again the courtesans in Mop. And also a bit of heroic Lei Shen going on.
Does it go 2-3-2 then for how it goes?
It's always 2 based on what I watched.
It's always 2 up.
Okay, it is always 2. For some other reason, I just like listening to that.
But
Does that mean it's 2-2-2?
As you kill one of the bosses, the wraths for the others take more effect. So after you kill the first one, you start getting, from what I saw, the frog one. So like the wraths happen as you kill them.
Okay, the actual
there's only 2 targetable things at a time.
Okay, the Loa abilities happen, not the aspects. Yeah. Bodies are not active, but the Loa abilities.
So
happen.
the fight looks like, when you look at the damn Dungeon Journal, it looks way more complicated than it is. But the thing is, there's always 2 aspects up, and when they're active, their abilities are happening, and then on top of that, all of the Loa abilities always happen, but based on the buffs you give the actual aspect, those Loas do more damage.
Yeah, because I was talking with Goob a little bit earlier on in the day, and he's saying like you need to kill Kimball first. I was like, I don't know about that.
You can't.
The aspect.
You can't.
Yeah, you can't.
It's Pacu and Gonk up first.
Yeah, I know, but
then
I don't know
Kimball.
if that's a rotation. Is it a rotation, or is it who's always up?
Well, they don't know.
Based on the PTR, it looked like it was tested in one direct order, kind of like it's also like the Mantid in Siege. Paragons, yeah,
or whatever.
Of the Calaxy, yeah. It's very much like that, where it was a set rotation. Yeah. Yeah, but it's definitely Pacu and Gonk first, and then when you kill either one of them, Kimball comes down, and when you kill either one of them, then Okunda comes down. Yep. That's what it looks like from the PTR video I watched. Looks like it was very set in stone.
But it's very set in stone. Okay, that's good. I'd like it if it's set
they
in
wiped
stone.
a few times in the video. He put a couple of. I just looked at PTR videos, but as far as we know, yeah. So there's 2 aspects active.
Yeah, I watched a 5-minute and like a 8-minute fight. That was it.
Yeah, when the lowest aspects are within 7 yards of each other, their damage done increases by 75%, and their damage received is reduced by 90. So it kind of has that. The Coven. 7 yards is silly. It's because we're going to keep them within like a 10-yard, but that only is going to be applicable for people that are going to gain from it, because any damage done to the B Loa that you're not killing is wasted, unless you're gaining resources.
Have it at 7 for the Pacu Wrath, because Pacu's Wrath is 10 yards wide, and you need everybody inside Pacu's Wrath. I'm jumping ahead here, but that's why I think it's set to 7.
Yeah, it's just so the last boss will always be buffed by. Is it 45%? Yeah, because 1 is 15, 2 is 30, 3 is 45. Yeah. So the last one, whatever one you leave up last, is 45% stronger.
So I think I'm jumping ahead here again, but like that statement. Then the videos I saw. It wasn't just the active boss, but their aspects, what they were doing, like the Pacu aspect. Well, and the last of the fight was destroying people.
Yeah,
because it was also buffed by Loa's Wrath.
I would assume it buffs all of them. Yeah, So all of the
that's gonna be fucking
Loas
crazy.
are going to be, yeah. It has a very, not a snowball effect, but it's a controlled snowball effect because you know what you're doing. I don't know whether there was any reason in the video that I was watching when it was Pacu and Gonk. They killed Gonk and then killed Kimball. They just left Pacu up the whole time. I don't know if there's any reason to that. I don't know if you want to bounce back and forth between, like, you pick one and then whatever one you didn't kill the first time, you kill that one, and then you kill the newest one, then you kill the final one. I don't know if there's any reason or rhyme or reason for that.
You kill whichever order you feel like is going to work best for you, right? So if they
whatever
left,
one you want last. Yeah.
if they left Pacu up, it's because they didn't want to deal with the raid-wide like stack
We have not
damage.
talked about any of these abilities.
No, I
But
know.
yeah,
We're
anyway.
going through. I'm
Okay.
going through the passives first. Yeah.
Okay, so let's break down each.
So,
thing
well, the
here.
last the last thing was the Cry of the Fallen. So as an aspect falls, their lower lets out a death cry that inflicts a chunky nature damage dot. That
which
it's
will
a
of course stack with Lo's Wrath.
right, which yeah, it's a so it ticks 12 times. It's every 0.5 seconds for 6 seconds. It's at
It hurts.
12.2 on heroic, and it's 16.6 in mythic. Yeah,
From
16.
the VODs I saw,
yeah.
it does not fuck around.
Yeah, it's a lot
It
of
is something
damage.
That's we're going to have to heal our butts off during.
So do we want to just
Yes.
do we want to just look at each individual aspect first? Just go one after another.
So- Yeah, basically we're going to do. Yeah, I can go through this if you want.
Yeah, go for it. I'll just
Okay,
follow
so
along.
first one's first is Pacu's Aspect. Pacu's Aspect has two abilities. It has Gift of the Wind, which is full energy, increases allies by 45% haste and 75% movement speed for 15 seconds. So that will go on any ad that is, or another boss that's nearby, and that's a dispellable debuff, I believe.
Yeah, because he gains
then-
energy over time, right? And then he'll buff one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next one is Hastening Winds, which is the tank swap mechanic, which is, oh Jesus, is a consecutive attacks increase the attack speed of the boss by 8%, and that stacks up.
Just tank
So
swap,
nice.
because he just punches
Yeah.
faster. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's good.
Yeah.
That's
And then the next one is Pacu, the Loa itself. Pacu does, will fly in from above, lands in a certain part of the room, and then will start doing winds knocking back. But if you want to take less damage, you have to be within 10 yards of the 10-yard box of the Loa itself, and then you'll still take damage, but you're not going to take as much damage if you're outside of that circle. If you're outside of that circle and you're DPS, you're probably dead.
yeah. Pacu puts down
And-
a circle in front, and the animation is a long time actually.
Yes,
Well,
it is.
From the PTR video as well. Each time a Loa activates, the ground symbol in the room like shines
glowing.
bright, like it glows, and then one activates. Then you do with that one, and then it will,
Yep.
after a while
Exactly.
it
It
glows
just keeps
again.
cycles.
Then you do
Yeah, exactly.
Now
Okay,
I don't know
the
if
next-
those are those random or are those on a train sequence.
I think they go on a train sequence where they just go like click, 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 click.
Sure.
click around the room. Is like I think that's my guess or my
Okay.
assumption.
Right.
They may activate after an aspect has been activated, but so like I don't think if an aspect has been activated, it may not happen. If
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
But if an aspect is dead, I think or no, if an aspect's dead, it won't happen anymore.
It still happens.
It still happens. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
sorry.
think it still happens. The activating part, I believe, is correct because at least they got so far into the fight before we even saw the Thunder Lizard pop up.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. I think we watched a very similar.
It was
video.
just pterodactyl and raptors, and then eventually it was pterodactyl, raptors, and cat, and then Krogwa's
Pterodactyl,
jumping
raptor.
around by himself.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
always there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway,
Fuck
that's just Pacu. Tank swap.
okay.
Is Gift of the Wind dispellable? Like, is it a massive spell on
That
all
may be
allies, or
That may be like an offensive dispel that we can do.
because it says haste of allies? Is it all allies in the entire room?
Maybe.
So adds that are spawned.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Then the next one is Gonk. Gonk has the Crawling Hex ability, which is at full energy, curses an enemy, rendering it unable to attack and cast for 5 seconds, and then it will spread Crawling Hexes to players within 8 yards. So it's the exact same ability from Untitled Chapter
Correct.
with the trash. That's all it is.
It's the same green circle and
Same green
everything.
circle, same fucking mechanic, literally identical.
It looks like
a
it's
curse.
yeah. Don't dispel it, maybe.
You can.
They weren't in all the videos I watched. You just sat there and let everybody get away.
They weren't, but like if we have the ability to, and like if I see somebody that's off on their own and smart, yeah, sure, maybe I'll give them a dispel, but probably not because they'll be healing too much. And then he also has transform into a raptor, so he'll turn to a raptor, and then he will do the 90-degree cone in front of him, just slash in people in front of him. So I think the similar thing that all raptors do that we've seen in all the dungeons so far. I didn't actually see him do it in the video that I watched, but
It's exactly like the
it's exactly like
Devour trash.
Does he change locations, or does he just target the tank?
It's a tank frontal. The
Okay.
biggest impact that has is during Pacu, his aspect, or not Pacu himself.
Pacu's
Because the
wrath.
tanks have to like be careful because we're all gonna be stacked up in the 10-yard circle.
Gotcha.
Right.
So, okay, that makes sense. And then
Probably just aim it at the pterodactyl's butt. Just walk in and just make sure he's facing towards the
everybody
tail.
stands on the inside of it, and the other tank goes to the back side of it.
Right, exactly.
And then we have Gonk, the Loa. So Gonk's Wrath summons ravenous stalkers around the room. Those will then mark somebody, fixate on them, and hunt them down. And then on Heroic and Plus, while the raptors are close together, their movement speed is increased by 75%, and they become immune to crowd control effects for 5 seconds. So people need to get fixate, but they need to like run away from other raptors while fixated. They can't we can't basically bring them all together and just blow them up and use like Ring of Peace. Thank you.
Well, I don't know if it was working for them in the video that I looked at, but and I don't think we need to do this because it looked a little bit slapdash. Is that they would grip either by Gorfiends or single grips them to the middle, so they would be in the middle of the room. They would get the sprint, but what they're doing with that is they would give their raiders time to go to marks on the outside of the room. They had 4 marks set up, and each person that was targeted by one of the raptors, it looks like there are 4 raptors that spawned, went to their mark and then started just wooing in a circle, and they just run them around the outside of the room.
So, I've also seen like complete chaos style where they just, PS them down and just stun them and CC them and did everything they possibly could to just deal with them. I don't think it was too bad because like you can throw down rings everywhere and you just kind of like boop them into ring and you stun them and you slow them and all this stuff.
However, any class ever deals with a fixate.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
The
have
next
everybody run out the rod.
Now, what do they
the
do
next-
when they get to their target, though?
they just
Attack
beat it
them.
up, attack them.
It doesn't.
Hit 'em.
It's not a death touch or anything. It's just
Nope, it's just eat their face off. That's
It's
literally
the
it.
fixating spider heads and under rod.
okay.
Just reskin to a raptor.
Well,
Does
that's
a lot
what
of damage, but
Well, that's what I'm wondering about. How much damage is it? If it's also physical damage, some of these can be bopped and they can
They're
just
probably
stand still.
physical, yeah, probably physical.
If you have an immunity, you could just stand there and laugh at it. But yeah, I saw a lot of just random stuns. We could also have kill teams or kill targets where different, like 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like you kill through 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And so it's not all willy nilly, but it's like a focused, targeted raid thing where you just nuke them all down. You go back to the boss.
Looks like it's about 100k damage slash.
Okay, that's terrifying then. That's
Yeah,
not
pretty bad.
unless you
They're
can
ravenous
immunity it.
stalkers, right?
Yeah, Ravenous Stalker, yes.
Yeah, I'm looking through some logs. It seems to be about between
Okay.
110 to 70k.
But immunities and
Depending on
bops would work if we
Yeah.
needed to, for whatever reason.
Then the next one is Kimball. So Kimball's aspect does tank. I believe this is another tank swap ability called Lacerating Claws. So swipes at nearby enemies in a cone, inflicting 1.4 or 142k physical damage, an additional 16.6k bleed. Words.
They're really
yeah, basically
trying.
bleed.
Blizzard
It's a
is
stacking.
really trying to force people to do prot warrior shenanigans. It feels like there's 3 bosses with bleeds. That just okay.
And see, part of me thinks like I'll get into it later on, but I actually think this may be a good 3 tank fight.
A mythic
then-
possibly. Yeah.
And then that's all Kimball's aspect does. It's just that stacking bleed thing that the tanks will have to deal with. And then Kimball, the Loa, she'll do Kimball's Wrath, and then that'll leap at random players. Those players people need to move away from those players, and then Kimball will pounce on them and cause them to bleed for the entirety of the fight. And that stacks.
The bleeding wounds never goes away. Is that right? Now, I didn't see in the video that I watched, is Kimball's jump, the leap, the wrath, is that avoidable? Like, you know where she's going to land?
You'll get targeted with like a hunter's mark thing on your head, and I think it picks like 3 or 4 people.
Oh, so it's a guaranteed thing. So it's morose then. It's morose's garrote. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Like unlike Krogwa, which is totally ignorable because you see the swirl on the ground. So Kimball is just a soft enrage, I guess. Okay.
Yeah. Basically, Krogwa. Good luck, hunters. Talk to you guys later. Like that's it.
Okay.
Okay. Then the next one is Kunduz aspect. The Kunduz aspect does Thundering Storm, which is another tank ability.
Odin Ball.
It's basically, a 10-yard range around the boss that just explodes, so melee will just need to dance in and dance out type thing.
That's the wrath, not the tank mechanic, right?
No, that is the tank mechanic.
Oh, so they're almost the same thing then. All right.
Yeah, so no, the Kimball's aspect is a cone in front and only on the tank.
Okay.
Whereas the Akunda's aspect is a circle around the boss that melee will need to dance in and out of. Think like
Wrath is Odin Ball. I think I jumped the gun.
The storm is
yeah.
That sounds like Agrimar.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a 10-yard radius around the boss that damages all enemies for 154k nature damage.
Half
so
your
just,
health, basically.
you dance in and dance out. That's
Sure.
how it goes. And then their next ability is Mindwipe, which at full energy wipes the mind of random enemies, causing them to forget their abilities for 30 seconds. It's basically a stun that just needs to be dispelled by healers.
Ooh, this might be why.
And I only saw that going on 3 people.
Okay.
But imagine if that went on a tank. That'd be horrible.
Maybe this is why the videos I saw, they weren't killing earlier bosses. They were leaving one up because it looks like Akunda probably is the third to kill. Because if you fully buff Akunda with that, not only buffing the aspect, but buffing the tank swap by 45%, that sounds nicey.
Well, Akunda, you don't need a tank swap. You just have to dance in and out of it, right? The only two aspects that you actually need to tank swap are Kimball and Pacu. That's it.
Interesting.
So then Akunda the Loa will do Akunda's Wrath, which electrifies random enemies. I believe it's like half the raid, if not the entire raid, is what I've seen. 6, you said?
6 on Mythic.
6 on Mythic? Okay, so it electrifies 6 people on, and then they'll inflict 72k nature damage to all players within 5 yards. In addition, when Akunda's Wrath expires, it creates a static orb that radiates outward, i.e. the orbs off of
it was a hexagon when I looked at it.
It was 5 orbs explode.
Yeah, 5 orbs, yeah. Because it was the face of the person and then right, left, front, right, left, back. Yeah.
Yep.
The issue is that it looked like that was not, it's not something you really planned for. You have to pre-spread because...
Well, yeah, it's like spread.
You don't have at least then maybe they changed it, but on the video when Lethal was testing, they had plenty of time to get away from each other and shit. It was like 4 seconds.
Oh, the people that weren't
like
getting...
you get it,
okay.
and then you're about to explode. So it's kind of like explosive corruption on Gahoon, where if you can make it to a wall, you nullify half of the orbs because they go out to oblivion.
Yeah,
exactly. If you put your face into a wall, 3 would go into nothingness. Yeah.
Yeah, because it explodes after 6 seconds. It's just the upfront damage. Like when you have the cloud of electricity floating around you, that's what can hurt your friends. So we'll want to pre-spread for that.
Yeah, it starts at in Mythic it's let's see. Yeah, it's 71,000 nature damage before being buffed by at least 30%.
Like
So-
it starts to hurt.
The static orb
Everything
also is
starts
a stun as well if you hit the orb,
Yeah.
which is just like what happened on Odin.
Yeah, it's just basically I saw that and I was like, yep, Odin. Cool.
Odin.
Like part of me thinks Gonk is probably the last aspect you kill
Really?
because it's just raptors.
Oh, so you think
They do more damage, but they don't gain health.
If Gonk's last up and anybody gets touched by one of the last hurting claws, or one of the ads, they're gone.
Oh fuck! Yeah,
Like,
that's
if
the
you
only thing.
melee, that's gonna be 240,000 HP.
See,
per melee.
I don't see the ads hit
It's not in the Dungeon Journal.
like the
at all.
raptors.
No, Dad
But
was
I-
looking at a log.
Yeah.
I think getting
Okay.
hit by a raptor, because that, I don't know. That's what I was thinking earlier. I think Pacu is the easiest one to leave up, because all it is a tank swap, and then you just dispel. Like, it doesn't do anything. And Pacu's Wrath is completely avoidable. I think it depends on how that scales.
True.
Dealing with it, because if Pacu's Wrath at 45% is the tipping point, then we might have to do one that isn't a raid-wide damage point, because that's the issue. Because both Akunda...
The ras will always happen no matter what.
Well, no, that's different. I'm talking about
Oh, yeah.
Pacu's Wrath itself is when we hide in front in the circle. That would
Yeah.
still be buffed by 45%. So
Yeah.
that's
And
what I
then
wonder.
And then we have Craigwa.
Krogwa,
just-
Frog Boy.
Or Krogwa will just leap from one person to the other person and will pick the farthest destination to always leap. So hunters are going to go on either side of the room and that's their job. Done.
The hardest part about Krogwa I saw was when you group up for the stack for Pacu's Wrath, is that Krogwa will jump at the group. So
Yeah.
just gonna dodge
And
it.
we'll learn after a couple timings even, or a couple pulls what the timing is, and we can just have immunity
Dance.
stand up.
Yeah, or
Dance.
have like a mage ice block or something.
Yeah, just have two people
Also
with
true.
immunity chill,
Could do that.
and then he'll jump back and forth. Because the Paku's Wrath lasts for only 7
8
to 8
seconds.
seconds.
Yeah.
And then we have one Samdi as the last
Whoop
rat, which
zombie.
only happens in Mythic.
Yeah, that's all that.
So basically what he does is he curses 3 random people. They are not healable at all, period. And then if they die, the curse will bounce to somebody else. Or you can dispel the curse and force it to bounce to somebody else in order to heal that target.
Which Lethal was going off about Warlocks on this fight because of that debuff. Apparently,
Yeah.
you can still heal as a Warlock with that debuff on you.
Their
I wonder if
self-healing
your-
works, you
your
mean?
abilities
Apparently.
Or demon
Oh.
skin or something. All that works or something. I don't
Yeah,
Oh.
apparently it was like. Yeah, I think
So
it was
I-
actually Demon Skin. Like you just
Yeah,
So-
kinda always had the Absorb, which isn't affected apparently.
So
they
I
were just
wonder if like not Resto Affinity would work for Boomkin.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
It's not the same as an Absorb, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
I think it was the Demon Skin Absorb.
We would have
Gotcha.
to, yeah, see, those are things we would definitely have to look at. Because if things are not all squelched on the PTR, I would imagine / hope they would be squelched on live. However, the Demon Skin Absorb, definitely a thing.
So and of course you can force dispel that curse and it jumps to the nearest target. So you can force it onto your
Yeah, so all
Warlocks.
they were doing was just dispelling until their Warlocks got, and then they just said, "Cool, the mechanic's gone."
Interesting.
But I
like
don't know if
that.
that's
That
enough.
actually that would be huge if we could do that. 'cause
Oh
we
yeah, it's huge if that's the
possibly
case.
3 Warlocks now.
There still eventually would be a tick down by all the AoE, though. So you still might have to
That's
bounce
just
it.
it.
yeah.
They weren't. That was it. Like I don't know how they were staying alive. I don't know enough about Warlocks
It's
to know. that.
Soul Leech. I'm
Yeah,
looking
they were
at
just
that.
chilling,
It's Soul-
even through
yeah.
Paku's Wrath and shit. They're like, whatever, I'm fine.
Well, that's
The
what. Well,
damage they do translates to an absorb, so it doesn't count as healing.
no, but they're right. That's fine, but they're not going to DPS through the AoE. That's gonna eventually
Right.
do 100,000 damage and stuff like that. So I feel like it's definitely a good buffer. But I mean, that doesn't seem too bad. That just comes down to there'll be a buddy system. right? There'll be a buddy system. We'll have priority targets that we want to put Bwomsamdi's Wrath on, but then if we need to bounce it, top that person off, bounce it back. That's doable. We'll have plenty of decurses. So I can do that.
I can. So druids can.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they had to give you something.
It's
after that.
Druid, Shaman, Mage. Wow.
You put that on my bar, I guess.
Yeah, Druid, Shaman, Mage.
But that's the rundown of the abilities. It's everything. There's not a lot to each one. It's just a matter of how do they all sync up when they're there. So like when things overlap, that's where the difficulty will come in.
Yeah, I think
But it's very much a dance fight, in my opinion.
figuring out, because again, the PTR videos are only so confirmed. I would like to know the over under on when things activate, right? Because based on the PTR stuff, it could definitely change. Because are all the Loa active from the start, or do they have to have the aspect at least activated once for their Loa to do anything? Outside of Krogwall, of course, he's just there. So, and does Bwomsamdi only put how many?
3 curses up.
Just 3, period? That's it, the whole fight?
I think so.
Yeah, it's through the
Well, yeah,
whole
because
thing.
we're gonna manage those 3 bouncing the whole rest of the fight.
That's what I'm saying. But I don't think they're very. You don't just bounce them willy nilly. You'd only bounce them to certain people. They would stay next to each other, and you'd bounce, heal, and bounce back, something like that. It just seems weird that it only puts out 3 and that's it. That's why. That's what
Pair
I
off
was.
some people.
Right. Okay.
And that's only later in the fight that was happening, right?
No, that was the whole fight.
Bwomsamdi, I imagine, would be at this very start. Yeah.
From the
I'm
very
trying to
start
look on
they
these
were
logs
doing
and I just don't see it as a debuff. So.
Oh. Well, again, PTR, mythic testing, might not even
Yeah.
work.
it. In the video, I linked the top video, the pretty good mythical.
Is that the warlock that starts with a K?
Yeah. He's
Okay,
in-
yeah, I watched that one twice. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and he's got Bwomsamdi's like right away on a
Oh,
couple
okay.
pulls.
I was just looking through this log and I was trying to find it.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know Lethal had posted their logs.
Oh,
It might
maybe
not be
it's
this
their log.
log. Oh, okay.
No, this is just. I was just finding a log to look through. That was longer than 1 minute long.
But bleeding wound, you said, never goes away.
It does not. I think that's what that will eventually just start killing people. Like,
Not me. I got bop. Get fucked.
Well, yeah. But
Oh.
bleeding ones will just start to like kill people.
I don't know if they're dwarves.
That's just the.
Oh yeah, dwarf.
Well, you can't remove it.
I don't think it
If
actually
it's
removes
a,
it. I
if
just think
it's
it
a
stops the damage.
status. Yeah. I guess that's the one thing that I'm curious about, because deeper into the fight, like if you kill the 3rd aspect, so you're on the last one, they're buffed by 45%. And you'll have to deal with that transition of Loa's Wrath being buffed, and then whatever one you choose. Even if Pacu might seem like the easiest one right now, I don't know. Loa's Wrath into a Pacu's Wrath could be a lot of yikes.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
So that's what I'm wondering, like, which one do we think is
Well,
the
either
easiest?
Either way, the wraths are going to happen no matter what. It's just a matter of how they are sequencing in the fight.
Yeah.
The thing that we're trying to stop is the aspect abilities. So, do we want to get rid of the tank swapping mechanic as quickly as possible by killing Pacu and then killing Kimball, or do we want to keep one of the tank swap ability happening by killing Gonk and then killing? Because realistically, if we kill Gonk first, then we're going to have both the tank swapping tanks up right away, which would be Kimball and Pacu at the same time.
Well, that's, I don't know how big of a deal it will be for heroic, but in mythic, I mean, that's a, you brought up earlier, is this a 3-tank fight?
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, like, we don't
You
know
because
that.
if you could just do the 2 tank swap mechanics, get to the 2 tank swap mechanics early. If you have 3 tanks, well, you basically have one in the wings and an A and a B tank, and
Yeah.
you just ignore, you get out of contention the AOE nonsense.
Yep.
But then that's also, are the aspects abilities, they stop obviously when they die, but their actual Loas aren't, right?
No, the Loas keep doing their thing the entire time.
The entire time.
From everything that I saw, they kept
That's
doing
true.
it, correct? Yeah.
Okay. So we can never get rid of, like, the bleeds eventually stacking up. That just keeps going. Obviously, Kimball doesn't come out until 3rd. Well, I guess she's the first rotation in, but 3rd of the first. You have 2, and then she's C, essentially. Yeah, I'm just curious, because none of them look that threatening. I just wonder what the damage scale will feel like when the last one is buffed by 45%, and which one do you want as the last one?
I don't think we want Gonk as the last one. I actually think you kind of want... I think you kind of just want to do it how the Dungeon Journal says, like, from top to bottom.
Want to end on Kunda?
Yeah, like, I actually think it may just be, like, Pacu... I think it goes Pacu, Kimball...
Akunda should be last for sure.
I think
like, everything Akunda does is 1000% avoidable.
Well,
like
the 6 people that are debuffed though, or whatever, the random enemies that are debuffed, that's definitely going to be a 100k chunk to them.
Which is like,
that's
I have 170k right now, and I don't even have gear.
But
so like,
that's what we don't know how these things line up. Like, is the Wrath going to line up between Pacu's Wrath, so you're not to deal with the same thing at the same time? Because how do you deal with people that are electrified that can't stack? I would imagine those should be desynced.
Well, I think that the Wraths are desynced because the Wraths only happen when it is
room
selected
activates,
by
right?
room.
One at a time.
It's close. There was a couple times where what's his fucking name? The frog.
Oh,
Krogwa.
Frog. Oh,
Well, I think
Krogwa is kind of like his own thing, though, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's separate.
Oh, never mind.
He's totally separate. He doesn't have an aspect. Or
Activates
anything.
and then he just keeps dancing. Over and over.
Never mind that.
He's just a
There's
happy
couple
bouncy
times where
boy.
he's, like,
Yeah.
jumping around like crazy, but he despawned as Pacu starts wrathing. So it's like he's out at the same time, but they don't actually overlap, but it's super close.
So
there might be times like that with the other aspects, or not.
I think.
So you have
But
to
I
deal with
think
Raptors the whole fight. Then that's what we're also getting at.
Actually, no. I think it goes Pacu, Kimball, Gonk, and then Akunda. Is the kill
Okay.
order.
That sounds fine by me.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think the first 3 matter too much.
You're just because you're thinking
It's our
just
last
taking the tank rotations out.
Yeah, exactly. And then the tanks can just kind of do their thing. And then there's no tank swap needed at all, right? Because if you kill Pacu first, then they have one thing to tank swap with, and that's it, right?
If we're gonna do that, then we shouldn't 3 tank.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
That's gonna be terrible.
Yeah, and then that's the thing. But first, and that's where we look at Day Radiers and be like, do they actually want to keep the tank swapping ones alive longer instead? And we'll see how the damage is on that stuff, right? Like, depends at how like annoying Gonk is or how annoying other things are. But
I
it's
think
like,
the
wait and
things
see.
that are going to be the pacing on this fight are dealing with Raptors properly and not having them be something that gets forgotten, because I think the Raptors set a good pace for
everything.
like, you don't want Raptors up when you have to do with Wrath, because you're going to have all those orbs flying around, and people that have Raptors can't kite appropriately, and if they get stunned, then the Raptor's going to catch them. And
You just don't want Raptors, period. Up
you also,
long.
yeah, you don't want Raptors up when you have to go jump in front of the pterodactyl. So
Yeah. And they honestly didn't have, at least from the vids I watched, that much HP.
no,
They were up for maybe 15 to 18 seconds.
it's just that there's 4 of them. Yeah,
I
and-
thought 4 or 5, maybe 6.
I think
It was
it's
4.
I think this was 4 when I
It
watched
was 4 every
Mythic.
time.
Yeah, Mythic.
On
yeah.
Mythic, yeah, we'll see about
Okay.
this game. But they didn't live very long. They didn't have that much HP. If people just pay attention and swap.
Yeah. I think it quite literally has to be like melee get close, range get far, or we make kill teams based on marks. I just don't. Those would be the one thing to not get out of control. That's for sure.
Makes sense. Any other like thoughts or ideas or anything else?
Honestly, the fight's pretty simple.
Well,
I think it's a dance fight, and once you know the dance, you'll get it.
They look like they have just under 500k on Mythic.
Raptors.
The Raptors, yeah. That's how I wanted that
That's like
video.
no.
Yeah. It's like one spell.
I mean, it's 2 million plus combined all, so they can't be ignored, right? They all have to be.
Yeah, they can't be ignored, but I go up to rares for world quests and they have 270 and I kill those in like fucking 9 seconds.
Right,
And that's just me.
It's also your cooldown rotation usually.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
The hardest part, I guess, to like, if we'll say this, if the Raptors are happening and then Kragwa is happening and people are kiting, like that could kind of fuck with Kragwa, but that's like,
yeah.
I think from what I saw too, Kragwa has it's that earthquake thing you dodged from the cave-ins from last expansion. So he's definitely dodgeable because that's half your health right there. It's 107k physical before armor, right? So it's still gonna hit. It's still gonna hit between 60 and 70k on armor people. The knockback, I'm not sure how important that is. It's just annoying, but you can definitely get pushed into your raptor or something. So we're just gonna dodge that.
It's about a 20-yard knock from what I saw on the second video there. That's Blood DK who gets hit by a couple of them.
Okay.
It doesn't even hurt him, but he gets knocked about 20 yards kind of vector from the middle.
I think if the tank swap rotation Pacu into Kimball, then it just comes down to do we just do Gonk and then Akunda last? I think that makes sense. It just has to be figured out. We will know the order by the time we get to them, but that makes the most sense. It's just weird that there's so many things that may or may not happen, but it all seems very Emperor Thogar. It's just very one after another, which also is why I thought of it. It looked a lot like the people from Mop from the Throne of Thunder. What are they called then? The twin consorts.
Yep.
Because the consorts always did one thing after another, after another, after another. There wasn't any really crazy overlaps with them. It was always just that you had to deal with the sequence of events. So that should be okay.
They're definitely having Kragwa jump during all of Pacu's wraths.
Oh yeah.
Every single. So that looks like it's going to be lined up. Sometimes they're leaving like a mage out, and then as soon as you see the reticle for Kragwa, they blink into the. They were using a link, but I mean just underneath the boss.
Oh, so they baited it out and then blinked in.
Yeah, they left a mage out or someone, and then once you have the circle, they went in.
Yeah.
But they also left like 2 people split up so that he would jump to that furthest person next.
Gotcha.
Just so it's not jumping on the group.
Okay. Kragwa's not always bouncing around, is he? It's like he'll get summoned and he'll bounce a few times.
Yeah, I don't know what his timer is. I'm just seeing it line up with Pacu like every single time right here, though.
Right. Yeah, because the room is very noisy. You watch it every time one of the wraths initiates, the entire like lowest symbol in the middle of the room beams.
Yeah.
So,
glows.
And it happens a lot. You can just watch the room. It definitely beams quite a bit. So.
Okay, so they just cast Gonk's Wrath and Kragwa started jumping too. So maybe he's synced up with the wraths. I don't know.
Oh. That would be something to definitely get a confirmation on if any of the other wraths coincide with also Kragwa jumping around,
That's
and
what
how
I think.
often that is.
He's just
I think Kragwa just may be like the thing that always happens during all the wraths.
He might happen during every wrath, so that just adds one more thing you have to manage during them.
How come he doesn't have an aspect? Is he not cool enough to have an aspect?
His aspect's still alive.
Who's his aspect?
Kragwa is
Kragwa.
still alive.
No,
Oh, he's still alive. Oh, all the other ones are dead?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
I think
they're
so.
dead.
It looks crazy, but I don't think it should be too bad. Just a lot of A and then B and then C and then B with C and then C and then D and then E and then E with D, and it's gonna keep just very train carring through. But all right, that should be the Conclave of the Chosen. 3 pet drops, 2 strong.